Hello, I'm Israel from asmag.com, and I'm very happy to join you today from our Taipei studio and share with you some of our insights from a survey that we did about technologies that will impact the security industry. Technology innovation is the result of a need. You want to reduce a certain risk or you want to solve a certain problem. Take, for example, the story of Marie Brown and her husband, Albert. Marie and Albert were a hardworking couple. Marie was a nurse, Albert was an electrician, they had a son and a daughter, and they lived in New York City in a neighborhood that was not so good. Because of the nature of their work, Albert was out of the house for many evenings, and Marie was alone at home with their two kids, and she was afraid. She was afraid of staying at home in the dark, and she wanted to think of a solution. Luckily for us, Marie was not just a nurse. Marie was also an inventor. So together with her husband, she came up with a system. They took a radio-controlled TV camera and they installed it in a way that it would transmit whatever is happening outside of the house into any TV set at home. And this allowed Marie to take a look and see what is going out without having to go to the door. With the help of her husband, she also installed a two-way microphone so she could communicate with whoever was outside of the house. In 1969, Marie patented the first CCTV home security system that we know today, and we are using the evolutions of this invention until now. Security technology keeps evolving over the years. We have gone a very far away from the days of Marie Brown. If we look into any product or any technology, we can see that there are four distinct phases in the product lifecycle. The first one is the introduction phase, where we have an innovation that one or two companies are introducing into the market. People are interested, but still not buying a lot, and all the other suppliers are waiting to see what is the response of the market. After that, we have the growth phase. A lot of newcomers move into the market. Many companies spend a lot of money in sales and marketing efforts, and they are fighting over market share. This is the phase where there is rapid increase in sales and a lot of technology innovation. The next phase is maturity. Most of the people already are familiar with this technology or own the product, and the ecosystem slowly pushes out the less competent vendors. The industry is usually dominated by a few big suppliers that dominate the whole of the ecosystem. After that, every product reaches a decline phase. In this point, the product is no longer updated, no new technology is introduced, and it is gradually phased out from production and phased out from the market and replaced with newer models. 10 years ago, our magazine, ANS International, wrote an article predicting what will be the growing technologies of 2012. When we look at the list, we can see a few familiar technologies, and when we want to see where they are today, we can see that most of them are now in the maturity stage. Cloud technology and IoT are still in the growth stage, and towards the end of 2021, when our editorial team wanted to write a similar article, we looked into what are the new technologies that security system integrators and manufacturers see as the most impactful for our industry. We asked the survey respondents to rank a series of new technologies based on two parameters: how suitable they are for deployment in their projects, and how mature they are, how ready they are to be deployed already. Let's take a look at the results. After we asked our readers to rate the different technologies, we put all the results on a scatter plot. So if you look at the grid that we got, you can see that we have four quadrants, okay? These rank the different technologies according to how mature they are, meaning can I already deploy them in the field, and how suitable they are for the security industry. You can see, for example, in the top left-hand side, technologies that are suitable for the security industry, but not yet mature. For example, 5G transmission technology, which is still not available everywhere, but security integrators are waiting for it because they see the benefit in it. The quadrant that is most interesting for us is the top right-hand side, technologies that are both mature and suitable for the security industry. Let's take a closer look. When we look at these technologies, we can see that two technologies come up more. One is video security as a service, video surveillance as a service, cloud, which already started 10 years ago. And the next technology that is more prominent and takes center stage as a growing technology is artificial intelligence. Artificial intelligence being used for object detection, for forensic search, to reduce false alarms, or for business intelligence. If we want to discuss cloud, video surveillance as a service, and artificial intelligence, we need to see what is their impact, both from the technology point of view and from the business point of view. If we start with cloud technology, the major advantages from a technology point of view are the central control, the fact that you can update many, many workstations at once from a central location without having to dispatch people to update them manually, and also the remote control that it gives you, something that was enhanced a lot during the past 2 years because of the COVID lockdowns, which increased the digitization of the whole industry. But personally, I believe, and also we in asmag believe, that the biggest impact of cloud is on the business model. The fact that it shifts the buying process from a capital expenditure, CapEx, into operating expenditure, OpEx. This gives the end users more flexibility in buying equipment. They can basically rent only what they need to use at that time. And it gives the integrator and the manufacturer different revenue streams. First of all, this is a recurring monthly revenue. The clients will continue paying to keep using your product and service, which means that you have a regular cash flow. And it also gives you the opportunity to upsell your products by offering different services on top of the regular service that you offer. It will also mean that integrators will need to change the way that they do business, because if we look at sales, for example, sales also will switch into more of an account management style instead of a one-time sale process. So if you want to adopt cloud, you need to change not just the technology, but also the way of doing business. But the star of our survey is no doubtedly artificial intelligence. AI kept coming up and up more and more as the most growing and hot technology for security professionals. We can think of AI as another step in the evolution of video analytics, something that has already been in the market for many years, but did not achieve the success that everybody was hoping for. As the industry started using more and more surveillance cameras, there was a problem of security guards losing focus, and also the practical problem of how can you monitor hundreds or thousands of cameras at the same time. Video analytics promised to solve that problem by alerting only when something is happening, only when there is an unattended bag or an illegally parked car or a line crossing, and then the security guard can take a look and decide how to escalate the situation. But the biggest problem was, of course, false alarms. When you try to scale this up and you have thousands of cameras and suddenly you have tens of false alarms a day, this becomes not practical. So many people abandoned the use of video analytics. Artificial intelligence promises to solve this problem. By training our systems, you are able to filter out false alarms and automate security processes on scale. So this is the biggest promise of artificial intelligence for the security industry. But of course, these new technologies are not just a big promise. they also bring with them risks that we need to take into account and understand before we deploy them at the client side. Take, for example, cloud technology. The biggest risk with cloud is, where is your data? Okay, how can you trust that the vendor is providing you with a safe and secure service? Two examples from last year from the United States can explain what I'm talking about. The first one is an alarm monitoring company called ADT that found out that one of its technicians just added himself to the accounts of clients and used his own credentials to spy on women in their home. A second case is a security breach in another cloud company called Verkada, where a super admin username and password was leaked out and allowed more than 100,000 cameras to be hacked by other people. Let's assume that cloud vendors learned from this mistake and now have good SOPs to prevent usernames and access rights to be freely shared outside. But we have other risks. If a third party controls my data, how am I supposed to mitigate the risk of, for example, switching costs? What will prevent the vendor from charging me hundreds of thousands of dollars if I want to switch to another vendor and want to release my data? Or if we look at the more actual example, Jabloton, a Czech alarm manufacturer, cut off 8,000 users in Russia and Belarus as the result of the invasion of Ukraine. So this, putting politics aside, opens a whole new risk. There could be a situation that because a cloud provider, let's say in the United States, is forced to cut out cameras manufactured by someone in China, and you in Europe suddenly have a system that is not working and you have zero control over it. Artificial intelligence involves a whole mindset change for security system integrators. It's not just a question of understanding the hardware, but also understanding how the software behind it works. We identify 5 areas where security system integrators need to ask their suppliers important questions. The first one is to check the performance of the promised AI. How does it work? Does the performance meet the requirements of the client? Is it easy to trick? For example, what will happen if I wear a costume or if I disguise myself? Will there still be false alarms? The second set of questions that need to be asked is about privacy. How does the AI fit into your existing regulation of privacy and data protection? The more advanced the AI is, the more metadata is being harvested and collected. It will be age, gender, what you wear, the car that you drive, the make, the model, the color. All these things will be collected and stored. Does this expose you or your clients into any regulation risk? The third thing is explainability. How can you explain how the AI really works? Is it a magical black box, or can you explain why the algorithm made this decision? The fourth is bias. Is there any bias in the way that the AI is checking the results? For example, if it was trained only on white men, what will it do when it encounters somebody from Asia or a black person? Will there be any bias in the results? What is the quality of the dataset that was used to train the AI? And this brings us into the fifth and last question, which we call the supply chain. Vendors, especially camera vendors that offer AI, probably do not have an in-house team that writes the algorithms by themselves. They use commercially available training sets and algorithms. So when you come to evaluate a new AI system, you need to ask, what kind of data set is it using? What was the origin of the data set? Was it legally obtained? For example, there is a facial recognition company in the United States named Clearview AI, which came under a lot of heat recently when it was discovered that it illegally harvested millions of pictures from social media to train its facial recognition engine. will you be in trouble if you use such a solution? Where did the training set come from? Where did the algorithm come from? Could it be that two vendors are using the same training set and the same algorithm? In that case, what is the difference between them? Security integrators no doubt have to ask a lot more questions from their vendors before they provide AI solutions to their clients. The key takeaway from our survey is that software development capabilities are going to take the center stage in the coming few years. We believe that the competition between the different vendors in the security field will be over their software capabilities and not so much over the breadth of their catalog, how many models they have, or price. I think that we will see a lot of artificial intelligence companies moving into the market and trying to establish themselves and reach as much market share as possible. And we will see competition around three main things. The first one is metadata. Which provider is able to give us better extraction of metadata from video feeds or from access control systems? How many attributes can you extract from the image? Size, height, gender, age, clothing. To what detail level can you go down? The second thing will be the quality of inference. As we all know, the same things might appear differently in changing conditions. For example, changing light conditions. A silver car might look white at night. So the algorithms that will be able to give more accurate results and provide better inference from their engine will have an advantage. And the third one is discovery and link creation between the different attributes. One of the key uses of artificial intelligence today is in forensic search. You are able now to key into the system, I'm looking for a man wearing a blue shirt and black pants. The next step will be for the system to automatically identify in which car I came in, what is the make and model of this vehicle, and what is the license plate number. The ability to automatically discover and create links between the different metadata objects will definitely be a power multiplier for AI solutions. But the holy grail of all AI solutions will be artificial intuition. The human brain and the algorithm brain work differently. We are able to make decisions even in situations that we haven't encountered before, based on our experience, based on our instincts. For computer-generated algorithms, this is still not possible. But as technology evolves and the neural networks become deeper, I believe that we will also be able to see computerized systems that have a certain intuition or the ability to understand a new situation and then decide what is the best course of action. That's it for today. I was very happy to share this with you, and I hope we stay in touch. My email is right over here. Feel free to send me your thoughts and your feedback if you liked what we came up with, and I'll be happy if you also read asmag.com. We have a lot more interesting articles that cover topics like the one that I discussed with you just now. Thanks again for having me today, and I wish you all the best.